Welcome to r/Best of Redditor updates, where OP accidentally invites a hoarder to move in with him. Our next Reddit post is from r/Legal Advice. I'm on okay terms with my brother, and his friend hadn't shown any hint of being an idiot over the last 15 years, so I went along with this. My brother's friend is Doug. My brother phoned me a while back and asked if I could do a favor for Doug, and he put Doug on. And Doug told me he's got to move back in with his parents because he lacks work like all of us. And he needs a place to store, quote, a couple of wardrobes full of clothes and a bed for about 6 months until things open up again. My brother told Doug that I had a spare room with not much stuff in it, which is true. And I was happy to help, so I said, sure, bring it over. The spare room is more than big enough for a couple of wardrobes and a bed. Through miscommunications and a shift change at work, I couldn't be there when Doug moved out of his old place and put his stuff in the spare room, so I dropped my spare key to my brother and he supervised Doug. On Friday afternoon, I came back home to a house packed full of what looks like every possession Doug has ever owned, packed into every room of my house. And almost all of it is urine-stained and covered in mouse droppings. Hold on, what kind? Like human urine? Or mouse urine? I wish OP would specify here. Quote, a couple of wardrobes full of clothes and a bed has turned into 2 wardrobes full of mouse-dropping clothes and boxes, a dozen garbage bags of more clothes, 6 chairs and kitchen tables, a bedside table, a dozen boxes of books, 2 bookcases, boxes of kitchen implements, half a dozen wall hangings and paintings, a house door covered in stickers, a credenza, a single bed, and a double bed, both of them reek of urine, 4 small chest of drawers, 3 kitchen cupboards, a pair of card tables, 2 refrigerators with food in the freezers and plugged into my powers, and more bags of bedclothes, electronics, just about everything to fill a regular small house. Everything in the house stinks, and I can't do this. I don't just mean it has a scent to it. I mean it stinks badly. I can taste the stink in my mouth even when I'm out of the house. With the heater on now that it's winter, it's nauseating. I phoned Doug and told him he has to come and get all this out, but he can't. He's already 600 kilometers away on his parents' property and has no money left. I told him I'm gonna dump the lot of it if he doesn't come get it. And he told me I'd made a binding verbal agreement with him, and if I damaged anything of his, he would come down on me like a ton of bricks with legal action. 10 minutes after getting off the phone with him, his dad phoned and made more threats of the same. I can't reach any of the shelving in my spare room. I can't use half my couch or my art desk. I can only just reach my own clothing in my bedroom doors, and I can only use 1 chair in my kitchen. I contacted my brother, who basically said, I don't know, and he said that he thought that's what I agreed to. What am I legally allowed to do with all this? I agreed to a couple of wardrobes and a bed. I did not agree to a house full of stuff. I want to at least get the worst of it out of the house immediately, but it's been raining and we have a week more rain forecast. I can't afford to put it in storage. I'm slowly draining my savings the last few months as work has been cut back due to COVID. I don't have a garage or shed. I have no place under cover to put any of this. The best I could do is borrow a tarp and wrap up the worst wardrobes and cling wrap the beds, but that's a minor help because it all smells bad. Then, 3 days later, OP posted an update. It's all solved. On Monday morning, I sent photos of everything disgusting I could, and of Doug's furniture on the lawn to Doug and his dad, telling them it's beyond foul, and I would not be keeping any of this inside my house. And I'll dump it this week if they don't come get it. 20 minutes later, I get a call from Doug's mother. She asked if it was so bad, could I send her some evidence, like photos? I told her I already sent them to her son and his dad. She yelled out in the background to one of them, OP says that she did send photos. Then she got off the phone. Half an hour later, the mom called me back and said they'd be down to pick up Doug's stuff and apologized. She asked if his boots were okay. Apart from the mouse gnawings and the droppings, yes. I'm not a barbarian. They were outside but under the eaves. This morning, they turned up from 600 kilometers away. Doug and his dad wanted to begin packing in their Pantech, but Doug's mom wasn't having any of that. They dumped 90% of it at the tip and came back and took just a few things home. Even the food in the freezers was off. His mom apologized and offered to make me good with cash, but she's already solved enough, so I declined. She left it open-ended and said if I needed anything fixed to call her. I know that I didn't follow legal advice, but this was the equivalent of someone asking you to hold on to a keychain for half a year, but instead they sneakily cover you in 50 kilos of poop that you're not allowed to wash off until you get a lawyer and fill out the right paperwork and wait a month. I just couldn't do it. I got lucky. I've had a few words with my brother and changed the locks to my place too. He opened up and let Doug and Doug's mates in, then left the key behind with him. He didn't know how bad it was either. My brother is an idiot, and Doug is a 32-year-old baby, and hopefully I'm a little wiser. OP, I don't want to be too harsh to you here because you're the victim, but giving a key to your house to someone that you've never met before and letting them move stuff into your house is kinda crazy. I'm not saying you asked for this, but, But the outcome isn't terribly surprising based on what I typically read on Reddit. Yes, hopefully you are wiser, OP. Also, OP, you now at minimum have either mice and or cockroaches and or bed bugs in your house. Our next Reddit post is from r/anti-work. This whole situation is absurd, and I need a sanity check. I work in admin in a niche but important multinational industry. I'm a knowledgeable, reliable cog, and I pick up a lot of slack as we're incredibly short-staffed, with plans to add more staff because it's working out fine for right now, blah blah. My boss is going on vacation, and she and I were comparing dates and realized they line up. She immediately told me I had to cancel. I told her I can't. Things are non-refundable. And since I'm a cog, I never considered my manager's schedule. That is not my job. She told me she could deny my paid time off, and if I still go, I'd be fired. Great. I go to her boss and say, let's make a plan. They say, okay, great. And I build a schedule for task coverage, including him taking a few hours each day to sit at my desk doing my in-person job of fielding industry questions. And I offer to log in for a couple of hours of paid work every day to help support. He says, cool, I'll present this to the higher-ups. This guy later told me that the other higher-ups think that he's too important and too high-paid to sit at a front admin office for any amount of time. Then the board comes up with a great idea. We'll just offer to reschedule my vacation. They offered me a few $100 to cover scheduling fees. I calculated the fees, and the fees are way more than a few $100s. I'm talking thousands of dollars at hotels, travel, transportation. I booked everything in advance so I could just relax. This doesn't just affect my life, but also my partner's summer schedule, who has 2 kids, and their crazy schedule with sports, split custody, their bio mom's vacation plans, a whole thing. My work asked me to cancel it and go some other time. I said a firm no. The kids are finally old enough to comfortably travel internationally. They're excited, and I'm not telling them we can't go because work won't let me. Huh? The thing is, I'm a cog. Should I have double-checked everyone else's calendar before scheduling? Sure, I'm not a managing party. I haven't experienced something like this in my entire working life. I'd previously notified upper management of my vacation time at the beginning of the year just like this, and they said, okay, great, thanks for letting us know. Why is me leaving for 7 working days such a panic? There are options to resolve this, like having someone come from another department for a couple of days here, another couple days there, and I offered to support remotely. Also, my vacation is scheduled for July, and I told them this in February. Also, shouldn't this be a reasonable indicator of how short-staffed the department is if 2 people being out for an extended period of time throws a wrench into everything? Did I do something wrong? Is there something I'm not seeing? Then 1 month later, OP posted an update. So, some time has passed, and upper management is absolutely begging me to reconsider, reschedule, cancel, anything so that I'm here for the time our dates overlap. This is for 5 workdays of overlapped vacation. They keep telling me they have to consider the needs of the business, that they'll pay for rescheduling fees in the thousands. They keep asking me to pull up my personal calendar to strong-arm me into rescheduling to come back early or cover some of the time. They keep saying, but you know how busy it gets. Look at your metrics. On top of that, we've had 2 people leave the department in as many months, and we're being told no additional personnel will be hired. The reason why no one is being hired is because I've absorbed most of their workload. So, see, it's fine. We don't need more people. Great. The thing is, I know how busy it gets. That's why I booked a family vacation during the slowest time of the year, and I told them in March that I wouldn't be here. I was not asking. I feel like I'm going crazy with 6 people telling me I'm being unreasonable, inflexible, and putting them in a bad position. I even made a temporary schedule for other departments to cover my work for that time. And I was told it's not going to be considered because other departments are already short-staffed. It just really is making me feel like all the personnel issues are falling onto me. The thing is, I'm looking at the job market right now, and it is bleak out there. Recession indicators waving red flags. Sure, I could get a new job, but not at my pay scale or in my field right away. I'm seriously considering making my part of my family trip shorter so I can come back early. Do I hold strong, or do I let them bully me into changing my vacation plan so that I have job security? I'm seriously asking because I feel like I'm actually going crazy from the stress. Then, 1 month later, OP posted an update. After some reflection and your encouraging comments, I decided to look for another job in the industry that I work in. It's pretty niche, so the major players know of or have met each other. I reached out to a vendor of the company I currently work for, and they immediately offered me a position, fully remote and at the same pay scale. They said that I can start now, later, whenever. They're stoked to have me on the team. They mentioned I have a great reputation, and all of our vendor interactions have been positive. And because they were a vendor, they couldn't approach me, but they were happy that I reached out to them. I'm over the moon. I gave my current position 1 month's notice, and I'm training my replacement over the next 2 weeks, taking a short break, and then I'm starting my new remote position. And now I get to keep my vacation with no hassle. I like this top comment from Stop Thinking It's Me, which really sums it up. You can't take 5 days off. You're too important. And if you do take 5 days off, well, we'll fire you because you're not that important. Also, it's funny to me that in this entire conversation, it apparently never came up that maybe your manager should reschedule her vacation. Our next Reddit post is from r/offmychest. I'm a 32-year-old guy, and my younger brother, Dave, is 31, and he has a new girlfriend, Rachel, who's 30. My parents have already met her once, and they said they would take everyone out for dinner so she could meet the rest of us, myself and my older brother, Steve, who's 33. We didn't go anywhere expensive. My parents just took us to a Canadian brew house. At first, everything was fine, but then it got weird when it came time for us to order. After Steve gave his order, mac and cheese, Rachel said, "But I was going to order that." We were all confused because no one said that Rachel couldn't also order the mac and cheese. Our server was confused too and told Rachel the kitchen wasn't sold out of mac and cheese, but Rachel said that she needed another minute with the menu. She asked Steve twice before the server came back if he was sure about his order. She ended up ordering something different, but for the rest of the night she kept talking about how she wanted to get the mac and cheese. It was really weird. Dave is mad at Steve for not ordering something else to accommodate Rachel, and at the rest of us for not defending her. The rest of the dinner was so awkward because Rachel kept talking about wanting the mac and cheese. My parents picked the restaurant because Dave said that Rachel had been there before and liked the food. It was so weird. My dad and I both ordered the same sandwich with a side salad, and there was no problem with us eating the exact same thing, even though Rachel asked us twice if one of us wanted to change our order. I honestly don't get what the issue was, or why she was so upset about Steve for ordering the same thing that she wanted. I know this is a small thing compared to some of the other things that get posted here, but I'm tired of Dave being upset and causing drama over this. He wants Steve to apologize to his girlfriend, but obviously Steve says that he didn't do anything wrong. I just needed to vent about how I'm sick of Dave making a big deal about this and bothering me and everyone else about how hurt Rachel is. I don't even get why it was a problem. Rachel gave no explanation, and neither has Dave. Then, 7 months later, OP posted an update. I will no longer go to restaurants if Rachel is going to be there. She doesn't get upset if we're having dinner at someone's home and everyone is eating the same thing. My parents met her once before the incident in my first post. They made lasagna for dinner, and Rachel didn't say a thing about everyone getting a piece of lasagna from the same pan. She ate it without complaining. Rachel only gets weird and upset if we're at a restaurant or getting takeout, not if it's a home-cooked meal at someone's home. The last straw for me was at my cousin's 16th birthday. Rachel got upset because my cousin ordered the meal that she wanted, and she tried to get my cousin to change his mind. My aunt and uncle were not happy, and they really don't like Rachel now. No one knows what her problem is. She just says she doesn't like it when people order the same thing and won't explain more. She even asks other people who order the same meal if one of them wants to change their order. I don't understand why this bothers her so much, but I just won't go to restaurants if she's there now because she makes such a big deal about it, and you can't even enjoy yourself. I'm not the only one who avoids her either. When I saw the title of this post, I automatically assumed that OP's younger brother's girlfriend was 14, 15. I could kind of understand that coming from teenagers because teenagers are obsessed with individuality and becoming their own person. It's the whole phase in life they go through. But a 30-year-old woman? Huh? Also, expecting a 16-year-old boy to change his birthday meal is pretty audacious. That was r/Best of Redditor updates. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.